Please. Yes, here it comes. So as you can see, it's definitely recognizable as a Koenigsegg, but it has some more elegance to it than the raw sportiness of the Agera range. So we focused here on street performance, getting the maximum enjoyment out on the normal road. So we have a little bit softer seat, we have more sound insulation, we have a new rear end where the engine and transmission unit is rubber mounted on active cushions, so they can firm up, but it can also keep the car more quiet and soft. It has a more plush interior with a bigger infotainment center. It has new, more stylish type of hollow carbon fiber wheels that we pioneered on the Agera model, which are still very unique in today's automotive world. It's got an active ride height, active shock absorbing chassis. It comes standard with soft closing doors that we developed the mechanisms ourselves from high grade material to keep the weight low. And it's the only sports car I know that has soft closing doors. What's even more interesting is you can actually fully robotize the body as an option. So front hood, rear hood, doors can individually open from the remote or from your telephone app. So you don't actually have to touch the car's body to get in and out and make grease marks and so on. Now I will act as a hydraulic unit in the car to show you a very unique wing function. On this car we wanted to look more elegant when parked, so the wing is fully foldable. Also when cruising on the highway it gives less drag and therefore better fuel consumption. On the 1-to-1 we pioneered the world's first top-mounted active rear wing. Here we pioneered the world's first top-mounted fully foldable active rear wing, and I will show it to you. One second. That's how it comes up hydraulically if the car is in operation, and then you have air braking like this, and there is no element of structure underneath the wing, which is the important aero side of the wing. And what's even more impressive about this wing is that with the hydraulic, the mechanism weight is only 6.5 kilos, which is truly lightweight for such a mechanism. As all Koenigsegg cars apart from the 1-to-1 series, the roof can be stored in the front of the car, so all of these cars are actually convertibles. And guys, can you help me take the roof off? We can have a look inside the interior as well. It comes with a memory seat, 6-way functioning memory seat, which only weighs 16.5 kilos, which are the lightest memory electric seats we have ever seen. And that's important to get the luxury and comfort but keep the weight down. But the most interesting part of this car is probably its drivetrain. Some of you might have heard I'm not a fan of traditional hybrid cars. They usually come in two flavors. One is the series hybrid, where you have a combustion engine running a generator, charging a battery, delivering power to electrical motors, driving the car forward. There you have a lot of conversion going on from mechanical movement to electrical to charging to discharging to mechanical movement, and a lot of losses. The good thing about that solution is that you don't have so many components and you don't have a heavy transmission. So it's fairly lightweight and compact, however not efficient when you keep on driving long distances. The other solution is the parallel hybrid, where you have basically two cars in one. You have a full EV with all that functionality, and you have a full ICE car with transmission and everything. That's pretty good from an efficiency point of view, but you're carrying around a lot of stuff, taking up a lot of space, costing a lot of money, and adding weight. So I thought there must be a better solution than those two. And after actually a few years of thinking how that could be done better and how you can remove components and still have all functionality, I came up with this idea that we filed for patenting last summer. And it's basically removing the transmission out of the traditional gearbox transmission out of the equation. So this car has direct drive from the combustion engine to the wheels with only a final drive unit in between. No gearbox, no gears. So when driving on the highway in that mode, not using the electrical motors, it's the world's first car that has a combustion engine driving the wheels with no gearbox in between. So how does this work? So we have one electrical motor on the crankshaft giving 165 kilowatt hour of power and 400 newton meters of torque, supporting the bottom end of the combustion engine, which is really needed when you don't have a gearbox. Then we have a hydraulic coupling element, which is allowed to sometimes slip for a short period of times to change the ratio between the ICE engine, the combustion engine, and the wheels, but mostly just open or locked. And then we have the final drive unit with two 200 kilowatt electrical motors, one on each side, both giving 700 newton meters of torque. So basically, when you take off or reverse, it's fully electric from the two electrical motors on the rear, also giving torque vectoring. So we have there 400 kilowatts of power and 1400 newton meters of direct drive torque. So when you accelerate away, when you come up to about 30-40 kilometers per hour, we close this hydraulic coupling and let it stop slipping. Then the engine is about 600 RPM, where you usually have absolutely no power. But given that you have a 400 newton meter electrical motor on the crank, you have actually 400 newton meters at that point in time as well, and maybe 70-80 newton meters from the combustion engine, which is doing its utmost to get up in RPM and get into torque and power mode. And that happens about 120-130 kilometers per hour. We have a tremendous power from the combustion engine. It seamlessly integrates into the electrical powering of the car. So in this car, when the coupling is locked, there is a directness between the RPM of the engine and the wheels. It just feels like you have an engine of 20 liters with super response with no need for gears. And some people might think, I'm going to miss shifting and revving up and all of these nice things you have in a sports car. And that is true, but I guess many of you have also driven the Tesla P85D, where you have this enormous quick response from an electric motor and makes a 2-ton car really fly and become nimble and small in its reactions. So imagine that kind of electrical power that we also have here, with 600 kilos less weight, with 1100 horsepower of combustion engine power on top of that. And then you can kind of sort of imagine what this will feel like. So to give you some numbers here, we can go from 0 to 100 in 2.8 seconds. That's pretty impressive. That would be much better if we had more than two-wheel drive. This is a two-wheel drive car, and that's how it is. So 150 to 250 kilometers per hour, that's 3.2 seconds, which is much more impressive. It's almost the same acceleration as from 0 to 100. Then going from 0 to 300, that's 12.3 seconds, and under 20 seconds to 400. And this car will almost do 410 kilometers per hour before the engine hits its RPM limit, and at the same time the electric motors are getting close to their maximum RPM, so that's all balanced out. I will show you, this is actually also a plug-in car. So if you look at the rear of the car now, I will fold down a little number plate lid here, and there you can actually put the charge cable, the Koenigsegg Type 2 charger. So you don't have to plug it in and charge it. You can charge it up quickly with the help of the combustion engine, but it can also be plugged in when you come home or at work, wherever you drive. So I guess that is the short story about the Regera. This car will be in production at the end of this year, after its testing program has been finished, and the first car will be delivered in about a year's time. We're making 80 of these cars during a 5-year period. And we've been very lucky that the interest has been high, so we have already taken quite a few orders. We're very surprised by the level of interest at this early stage, given its novel, unique technology. So that's the story I have for you. Please come in and have a closer look if you like. Thank you so much. Oh yes, okay. Thank you. I will tell you one small little thing. If you look at this, it looks like we have a central exhaust there. That's what we call the electrical motor exhaust. It comes hot, blue, shimmering air out of there. No, I'm just joking. It's just hot air from the coolers and the inverters and so on. And the actual exhaust is on the sides, and they are made out of titanium. And I think we reintroduced the first fishtail exhaust system on any sports car for the last 50 or 60 years. The great thing about having a titanium fishtail shaped exhaust is that it vibrates and resonates. The RPM almost sounds like it's double. This is very good in a car where you can only reach your top RPM at 410 kilometers per hour. So you have to live on the guttural roar and the resonance from the exhaust system to be thrilled by the engine, which I promise you it will. I would also like to talk a little bit about the electric propulsion. Sorry to take some more time, but we have the lightest, smallest battery pack compared to its power level of any hybrid car or electrical car. It weighs 125 kilos, has 9.24 kilowatt hour, which is the largest battery pack of any of these sports car hybrids. And it comes in a volume of 65 liters, which is very compact. What's even more amazing is we can draw 500 kilowatts of power instantaneously from a 9.24 kilowatt hour battery pack, and we can charge with 150 kilowatt hours. And this battery pack has been developed for us by a good friend of mine who also runs a nice little sports car operation, but with electrical cars, called Rimac. And Malte, you're here somewhere. There we have Malte. So he's the guy helping us propel the car electrically here. The electrical motors I would also like to point out here, they're made by a nice little company in the UK called Yasa, who makes the most power-dense small direct drive motors I have seen in production today. So yeah, without further ado, thank you once again. Please come closer and have a look.